Hey everyone, I'm finally back with a review of the Hiby R6 player, and I've had a few weeks to play with this, and I didn't want to make a quick review right after I had it because I wanted to make sure I gave a fair review. So I didn't want to, I spent a good time with it and made sure that I knew all the settings. I knew what I was talking about, and I didn't want to, quickly bash on a product that I didn't have time to really research and make sure that all my settings were right, and I wanted to make sure that I gave a clear, accurate review on this. So I'm gonna take you through the good, I'm gonna take you through the bad, and then at the end of the video I'll let you know whether I feel that this device is worth your hard-earned cash. So let's just start with the good. Number one is the build quality. I love this build quality. Love it, absolutely. This is the stainless steel version. It is, you can definitely feel the weight on this, and it is a bit heavy. I feel like if I were to drop this, because of the weight, it would shatter right away. But that's kind of a risk I'm willing to take. But if you're kind of weird about that, you want to take precautions and definitely get a case for this. I think you can get it for about $35 to get a leather case for this. So really good build quality. I've shown this to a couple of people, and that's kind of the first thing that they mentioned was just how awesome it feels, and the build quality is really good. The buttons, the tactile feel is really good. Nothing feels loose on any of the buttons. Nothing at all. Like nothing feels flimsy. When you press on something, it pops right back up. Everything has a good spring about it. These jacks are solid. There's no loose jacks in this at all. Very, very well built. So in that front, A+ on that. Good battery life. I can get probably 11 hours on this with balanced. So really good battery. I was kind of afraid that this would only last, say, I don't know, 4 hours. And if that were the case on this device, I probably wouldn't even use it this much. It'd probably be collecting dust in my drawer if it had bad battery life. But it does have really good battery life, which means I'll be using this a lot more. The question that everybody wants to know is, how does it sound? That is the main thing. And I have a Sound Blaster Omni 5.1. I know it's just a Sound Blaster. It's not, some high quality, Cord and Moho or anything like that, or Mojo. But I do have Sound Blaster, and I think sounds amazing. I have a couple friends that come over, and I tell them, hey, check this out. Plug in some headphones into the Sound Blaster, and they're just floored in how awesome it sounds. The bass is... Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That's not a review for the Sound Blaster, but compared to the Sound Blaster, this is pretty damn close. It's close enough to where I won't need... I'm not craving to use my desktop headphone amp over this. So that is awesome. I was hoping that it would come close to the headphone amp dedicated, and it does. It sounds really, really good. There's a setting on here inside of the app called MSEB, and this is where all the magic happens, basically. This is where you can adjust the bass extension, bass texture. You can change up the air to get more of a wider soundstage. You can do overall temperature right here. Now, I guess some hi-fi people probably wouldn't use this setting or the equalizer because they want some type of a reference sound. Myself, I'm more of a bass head. I don't like too much bass, but I want some bass in my music. So this is very important to me. What I usually do is I keep the equalizer off. I turn off my equalizer and I just use the MSEB to tune the music the way I like it. And this comes really damn close to my dedicated headphone amp I have on my desktop. So this is the magic sauce right here. Okay, so what about the speed? The speed of this is pretty good. Pretty good. I've seen some reviews where it's like, oh, it's pretty damn fast. It's fast, but it's not, it's not like the newer 2018 smartphones. It's not that fast, but I'm kind of a stickler for speed. I hate lag. I absolutely can't stand lag. So I would tell you if this was slow in a heartbeat, and it's not. It's not slow. So you won't have an issue with it, lagging or anything like that. The screen is nice. I believe this is 300 dpi. Really nice screen. Very vivid and on par with, smartphones of the last few years. Okay, so it has other things. When you get the player, you'll have the Play Store already installed. And I believe you also have Play Music already installed. Actually, you know what? I think I had to install it on my own. But just like any Android device, you can install apps on your own when you want to. So not a problem there. Okay, so let's talk about the bad. Again, I'm not being paid by Hiby, or they're not sponsoring me. So I guess I have the advantage of just being brutally honest with this device. Again, I've had a few weeks on this, and I'm gonna just go ahead and just talk to you about the bad stuff. The first thing is, if you're playing around with the the MSEB, what I was showing you before, changing this is kind of an EQ, but more of a sound altering setting here. If you're playing a song and you go back to this, you'll get a loud pop in your headphones. So you want to be careful that you're not listening to this really, really loud, because every now and then you'll get a pop when you go back into the setting, which isn't cool. It hurt my ears at one point, and then I knew how to just lower the volume before I actually went to that setting. Another issue I was having with this, so when I first got this, the app was crashing every now and then, but that's just an Android thing. Android apps crash all the time, but luckily though, after, 5 days of playing with this, the app stopped crashing. So if you do get this and the app crashes a lot, don't worry about it. For some reason, I don't know, but it just chills out on the whole crashing thing, and it does get better. Another issue is the DSD. Now, when I first got this device, the first thing I did was I loaded a DSD file on this device, and it sounded flat. Again, I'm the kind of guy that uses the EQ and the MSEB function to alter the sound to my liking. So when I loaded the DSD file, I actually was playing with the EQ and the MSEB, and it wasn't changing the sound at all. Like, I thought, okay, I have a defective device. That's great, right? And it kind of bummed me out. Like, anything I would turn up the bass, or I would do anything, nothing would work with the DSD. So that bummed me out. So then I went ahead and I said, okay, well, let me test it with an MP3 or a FLAC. And surprisingly, I was able to change the sound signature with MP3 and FLAC. But yet the DSD, I couldn't change the sound for the DSD at all. Until I found out what you have to do is you have to go to the settings, and then you have to go to DSD mode, And I think by default it's at native, and you have to change it to PCM. The only problem is that when you change it to PCM, it really makes the sound muddy. So then you have to go back to this and adjust it for the DSD. Yet for FLAC and MP3, you have to change the settings again so it sounds good with the MP3 and the FLAC. So what they do here is you could load different profiles. So I already created a profile on here, and I saved it. Actually, I still need to do that. So what I'll do is I will create a profile for just DSD. Actually, I think I did do that. And then I'll just choose DSD when I'm listening to DSD, and then I'll probably change the name to that to MP3 and FLAC or whatever. And so you kind of have to go back and forth with this. It's not a setting where you can leave it and it'll work awesome on DSD and all the other formats. You kind of have to do a lot of playing around with it. So that's kind of a bummer. Another bummer is the Hiby app is horrible when it deals with album art. Horrible. Like it's really bad, and it's all over the forums. It's on their Facebook page, and for example, I know I have tons of album art for the Smiths, and I know that because on Black Player and on Power Amp it shows all the album art. But if I were to click on the Smiths and I would click on the album view, check that out. Like, wow, like none of them show. Usually like one or two does show, but that's just horrible. Yeah, that's just. And sometimes if you do play a track, the first one, see, I just played the first track, and you'll see that there's no album art on the first. But if you go to the second one, well, it'll show here. It won't show there, but it'll show here, and it'll show up that way. I guess Joe said that an update will be coming, but he said that a while ago. And there's also a post on Facebook, and they have not even responded to this issue, so I don't know if they're actually going to fix it or not. But for example, I just went to the Smiths. I'm going to go to, just to show you, I'm going to go to Power Amp. I'm going to go to, this is Power Amp right here, and I'm going to go to the Smiths, and you'll see that it is loading all the album art. So that's just an example how other apps can handle it right, but the Hiby app does not handle it correctly. So that is a bummer. Okay, so you might be thinking, oh man, you must not be happy with your device. Well, I am happy with this device. I do wish that they would, fix the app issues, because I do have OCD when it comes to album art. See, that just bothers me. But there we go. We got two that are missing. That bugs me. So, okay. Is it worth it? And I would say yes. Hopefully they'll fix these little software bugs, but the important part is covered. It sounds really, really good. Once you have your settings dialed in, it sounds amazing. I use earphones, so these are the EMX 500s. I use Zens. I use the BS1 official. I use even the Grottos. I use the Grottos, the 325s, and it just sounds amazing. And here's when I know that it was a good purchase. A lot of times I'll be out and about, and I miss the sound of this device. Like, I can't wait to go home and listen to music. That's when you know you have a wonderful music device. Like, I would never think that way about an iPod or listening to music on an iPhone or whatever. This gives you awesome dynamics. It gives you low bass. It gives you all the highs. It gives you amazing soundstage, and it makes you want to listen to music. And that's the key. That is really, honestly, the whole point of this is that you want to hear really good music on this. So no other device does that. Well, okay, so my headphone amp, but that's a headphone amp, and I can't take my headphone amp anywhere I go. I love this device. It's not perfect, but if they were to fix the album art issue, the popping sound going into the different, it doesn't bug me that much. The DSD sound is kind of a bummer. I have to create a different profile to listen to DSD. But honestly, overall, this is one hell of a device. And yes, I would say if you're a music lover and you want good sounding music, it's definitely worth the price tag. I think it's going over, I think it's like over $500. But it's definitely worth it. The 10 ohm impedance, hasn't been an issue for me. Again, I use the Zens. I use these EMX 500s. I use the Snow Lotus 2.0. I use the Grottos 325s, as I mentioned earlier, and they sound really, really amazing. So it may sound like I'm kind of bagging on this, but I'm actually not. I'm just being completely honest with what I feel are shortcomings. But overall, this is a great device. And if you have the $500 to throw down on it, you won't regret it. So that's it. I'm gonna be keeping this until this thing just breaks down, and then I'll miss it and probably get something similar to this. So there it is, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.